Hello everyone, it is I, Rarity Fangirl31VA, and today I'm bringing you a different sort of video than what I normally make. This is a YuGiOh anime tier list video. So if you don't know, tier list videos have been popping up all over the place since Super Smash Bros. Ultimate came out last December. And like people making tier lists from things to like fast food, to movies, to video games, to TV shows. So I decided, hey, is there a YuGiOh anime tier list? And I'm like, oh, someone made a template for it, which I will be linking in the description below. So I decided, you know, why the not? I mean, I'm not really a discussion channel as much. I mean, I go on discussions sometimes, but I don't really cover this kind of stuff. But, you know, I decided to do this for the heck of it. Why the heck not? So we're going to be ranking the 6 YuGiOh shows in a tier list format, which, you know, like S tier is the best, with B tier is the D. I mean, I could add an E tier, but there's only 6 shows here, so I don't think that's really necessary. And I'll explain my reasonings for each one as we go along. And in terms of reigns, I will only be judging reigns on its first 2 seasons, as this is being recorded after episode 10... Is it 102? Yeah, 102 is aired, which is the end of the Playmaker and Bowman duel. So I'm basically talking about all of season 2 and season 1 in terms of my reigns thing, which this opinion on all the shows could change over time. Maybe at the end of reigns I'll make another video if my opinion on it has changed at all. But yeah, so we're going to be doing this in chronological order from Duel Monsters to reigns, and I'm going to be saying my opinion, obviously, and yeah. By the way, this is very unscripted, so if I ramble, that's why. Alright, let's go. YuGiOh Duel Monsters. I'm gonna put it in A tier. YuGiOh Duel Monsters was the second YuGiOh show I ever saw, and is probably one of the only shows that I literally do not want to watch the Japanese for. I know the differences, and I've seen parts of the sub, but there's something classic about the 4Kids version with Dan Green and all the amazing voice actors that's just who the characters are to me. That's just who they are. And yeah, at least for the anime. For the manga, I don't mind, you know, doing the Japanese names, same with DSOD, but we're talking about strictly the YuGiOh Duel Monsters anime. We are talking about the 4Kids version, which is what I like. You may get mad at me for saying that, but that's just my opinion, so I'm just gonna keep going with this. YuGiOh Duel Monsters is a classic. It has some really, really good elements. For being the first start to a YuGiOh anime, I think it's very good. I don't think it's the best, obviously that's not why it's an S tier, but it's still really, really good. I love the characters. I think Duel Monsters has some of the most memorable YuGiOh characters ever, and I think it honestly has the best minor cast. Like, these little guys, like Rex and Weevil and Mako, like all these little minor characters who you see, like the characters who get added to Duel Links all the time, just always popping back up. Like these little one-off characters that people seem to remember for Duel Monsters, but not necessarily remember minor characters like that for the other shows. So that kind of shows the, you know, the quality of DM's characterization. I also love DM's overall story. I like that it has a goal. Our goal is to get Atem's memories back. And I know there's a lot of filler, but we'll get to that in a second. But I really, really like there is an overarching goal for this series. Even though each arc is self-contained, for the most part, the arc has something to either do with character development, or at least the major arcs has something to do with getting Atem's memory back, which I think is pretty awesome. I love the final season. I love they took a risk and just made it a story. They did not have to focus on the card games, and they just made it this really cool Egyptian lore story. I think Egyptian culture is something that's very interesting, and I'm really happy this show kind of explored it with the mythology of it all and the designs and just everything, and also changing the character's skin colors to be correct. I kind of like that detail that, you know, Atem actually has the correct skin color, which in the Egyptian world, but when he's in Yugi's body, of course, has the Japanese white skin tone, which I thought was pretty cool. I think DM has some of my favorite characters. Has my favorite character, Mokuba Kaiba. Yes, Mokuba is my favorite YuGiOh character. Fight me. I love him for personal reasons. And I think it has the best brother pair with Mokuba and Kaiba. It has one of the best rivals. I think Kaiba is my favorite rival, but I don't think he's the best. He's really, really close, but I think there's another rival in a later show that I like a little bit more. I think it has the strongest best friend character in Joey. I think Joey's arc, as much as, you know, I think he's just a very fun character. And I'm glad we got to see him, you know, fight for his sister and fight to be recognized. You know, be the underdog, someone we can root for. And the relationship between Yugi and Atem is something that's really, really beautiful, and I just love it. I remember at the end of the show crying when Atem had to go. It was really nice to see Yugi transform this little kid to this man, and even in Dark Side Dimensions as well, but we're not really going to talk about that. But, you know, DM is great. I think if I had to say any major problems with it, I would say that there is a little too much filler. I am not a fan of the Orichalcos or Doma arc. Not really a fan of it at all. Just, no. It made me really angry because they basically killed off Yugi, who is, like, the main character. I know people say Atem's the main character, and I know he's, like, the title character, you could say, but the story's about Yugi, man. I'm kind of mad they threw him off, but what are you gonna do? I also didn't like with the Demise character. Duel Monsters also has the best villains. Pegasus is my favorite, but Merrick and Bakura, pretty good. I actually like the Noah arc, unlike a lot of people. I think Kaiba's backstory is arguably the best one in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it was explored really well, and yeah. So that's DM. The reason DM isn't S tier is because as much as I love it and think it's a great show, I just don't think it has the certain adoration and my overall, like, love and fangirlness that I do for the show and or shows that would be an S tier. So that is my reasoning for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. B tier. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX is definitely the most memey Yu-Gi-Oh! Ever, especially if we're talking about the 4Kids version. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX is so funny. You could literally, like, I've brought up this to my friends at university. Like, I've showed them random episodes of the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX dub, and they just laugh for what they got away with and how stupid it is. But even besides all the meme-y stuff, and we're going to talk about, you know, the Japanese as well, I think Yu-Gi-Oh! GX has a really, really interesting story. Despite the fact the arcs are rather segmented and there isn't really much connection between them except the theme of, you know, the school thing. Seasons 3 and 4 in Judai or Jaden's character development is so amazing. He transforms as a character, going from your happy-lucky teenager to someone who realizes the great power that he has and how destructive he can be. Like, when he matures in season 4, oh my gosh, man, he just has this, he's just, like, depressed. And it's really nice to see by the end that he's kind of found his old fire back. Same thing in Bonds Beyond Time. I think GX has a great supporting cast. I love all of them. Sho, Manjome, Asuka, Tyranno, Misawa, Edo. I love all of them. They're all so good. I think and Johan as well. They're just, all the supporting characters in GX are fabulous. I think GX also gets a lot of points from me for exploring Duel Monster spirit lore, which, if you know me personally, I am in love with that. I love that stuff, and the fact that they focused on it for quite a while, and it was kind of a central theme of GX in some ways, I thought was amazing. I think Season 3 did a lot for world building. And, yeah, why isn't it an A or S tier? Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, I had to say, I think the main reason it's not is, well, if I had to say the reason, I think it's because Yu-Gi-Oh! GX doesn't have, what's it called? It feels very disjointed. I feel like each season you could say is its own self-contained thing, except for 3 and 4. And there isn't really an overarching goal. I mean, you know Jada wants to become the next big king of games or whatever, but I don't think that's a strong enough motivation compared to, you know, some of the other shows, like Duel Monsters, for example. But that doesn't mean GX is bad. I also think, you know, as much as it's fun, there are some problems. Like, I think Jaden gets a little too much screen time. The other characters don't necessarily get to blossom as I would like them to. They do get episodes around them, of course, but I don't think that it was balanced as well between, you know, like in Duel Monsters, you could say that they balanced Joey, Yugi, and Kaiba pretty well throughout the story and getting focus for them. GX, not so much. I guess you could say that because the cast is larger, but that's beside the point. I also don't think the GX villains, aside from maybe Yubel, are, like, that memorable. I know a lot of people like Darkness, not really doing it for me. Sayu was cool, or Sartorius, I think he's also cool. But I think Yubel is, like, the only one I would say is, like, really, really good. And, yeah. I also like GX's ending is a bit open-ended. I think that's kind of cool. But, yeah. I guess you could also say that GX, I didn't connect with it as much as the other ones, as much as, you know, when I was watching GX, I was a kid in school, so I kind of understood, but I feel like I understand it a bit more than I'm older in university, you know, living in a dorm, living away from home, and kind of getting that kind of thing. But GX, still great on the meme front. Still really good to watch for that. I think it's just a great show to rewatch. And yeah, I think it has one of the best rivals, and definitely one of the best female leads. And yeah, so that's GX. Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. That's going to S tier. Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds is arguably the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Show, arguably. It's not my favorite, but it's arguably the best. It has so much right, despite the fact there are some hiccups, but Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds is incredible. It was the first Yu-Gi-Oh! I ever watched as a kid, growing up on Cartoon Network. I watched the dub when I was little, so I guess you could say that's a personal connection, but Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds did so much right. It took card games very seriously, and the idea of card games on motorcycles, and you know, you maybe like you start caring about it and not see it as this ridiculous meme that everyone kind of says it is looking at it from the outside in. I think it has the strongest main cast out of any Yu-Gi-Oh! Show. The Signer group is very tight-knit. They have a wonderful connection. I think each of them got their moments to shine, as much as I think Rua, Ruka, and Aki definitely deserve more screen time in the second season. Crow kind of took their screen time, but we're not going to get into that debate. I think it has the strongest arc to date in the Dark Signers arc. The Dark Signers arc, in my opinion, is arguably perfect. It's like the first 64 episodes, I don't have a problem with any of them. Even like the random episodes, like that one recap episode. Or you could say like the fact that Ru and Ruko still didn't get to do much. As much as I wish they did more, I was kind of happy that we had this sort of, I wish Ruka got to duel more. But I liked that while she was in the spirit world, like what she was doing was mirroring what her brother was doing. Aki's arc, oh gosh, how she learned to control her power a little bit. And learned that the destructive force that having being able to overcome her demons with divine and all that. I thought it was great. Jack and Carly. Do I have to talk about Jack and Carly? Incredible. Really wish that ship would have happened, but oh gosh, that was great. Yusei and Jack's dynamic. Yusei and Kiryu. Crow was good. It was just amazing. Now, obviously, you know, there are things you would change, but I'm kind of happy with the Darksiders arc as it is, except for maybe, like, I wish Jack and Carly got together. That's probably the only major complaint I had. But yeah, Yusei is a strong main character. I love synchro summoning. Synchro summoning is my favorite summoning method, so 5Ds kind of gets that. And, well, S tier for me, just as a note, is where I know, because not everything is perfect. S tier doesn't mean this thing is perfect. Everything has flaws, and 5Ds has a lot of flaws. I think after the first season, the quality kind of drops for a little while. As much as the random filler episodes are fun and the Satisfaction mini arc was great, despite the fact it wasn't really needed, things didn't really kind of pick up till, you know, the end of the tournament when we got Aporia and we got Zone and all that. And, you know, Aki, Lua, and Luca really didn't get to do much, and that was really sad. But, you know, I guess, like, I could push that aside for all the other great content. This is what I was saying about the rival earlier in the video. I think Jack is arguably my favorite of the rival characters. Much as I love Kaiba, I've recently, because I've been rewatching some of 5Ds, I just love Jack. He has a perfect mix of seriousness and strength, but he's also got the heart and the pure comedic timing. Jack's filler episodes, especially the one where he tries to find a job, is just gold. Like, who the heck pays for $30 of coffee? And yeah, I think the ending with the time skip was really, really nice. And, you know, leaving Yusei's future ambiguous and, you know, all the characters' careers I'm pretty much happy with. So, yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, really, really, really good. I think it's great. If you have not, I think it's even a show that if you're not a Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan, you could still enjoy. Also, one more thing I have to say, Turbo Duels were really cool, and I wish they were brought back properly, because in Arc 5, they kind of weren't. Like, it's basically just, you can't use field spells. Like, pretty much everything is the same for the most part. And oh gosh, it thundered. I hope it did not get in the background. Oh goodness. It probably is going to storm out. Let's hope to get this video finished quickly then. So yeah, Turbo Duels are great. They kind of limited spells and made you more resource effective. And yeah. So that's Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. B tier. You're probably thinking Zexal is my least favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! But it is not, which you probably already know what my least favorite is at the moment. But yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. The thing about Zexal is, I think that it's a really interesting show because a lot of people underestimate it. And I think the show is kind of written so you kind of do. You underestimate how deep this show can get at the beginning. You underestimate Yuma as a character as much as all the other characters do. You underestimate everything. But then we get to Zexal 2 in the end of Season 1 and bam! We've got some emotional stuff, some very mature topics. You know, with the Baryons and, you know, what they did with Dr. Faker and stuff. Like, there's so much maturity in this show where the main character is the youngest out of all the protagonists. And it's a bunch of kids. And it's really goofy. but I think that's the way it was written on purpose, and I find that to be really, really awesome. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal introduced arguably the best summoning method. It's not my favorite, but people say XC summoning is the best, and I kind of argue that it is. XC summoning's really good. It introduced the numbers, which their legacy is still going on today. We do not have all 100 numbers as far as I know in the game. We have most of them. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we just got like number 5 in like one of the, maybe Dark Neostorm, I think, or was it Dark Neostorm? I'm not sure if there's anyone in Rising Rampage. Haven't really been checking on the TCG, but yeah. I think it had a great main character. I think Yuma's character arc of growth is really awesome. I think, like I said about the underestimating thing, he is the underdog. It's like if Joey was the main character in a sense, but a little bit younger. And I think a lot of people hate on Zexal a little too much. They just don't even want to give it a chance. But I think if you do give it a chance, like, because you naturally, you know, going in probably underestimate it compared to the other Yu-Gi-Ohs for how it looks. It's very bright, very colorful, has a lot of kitty stuff in it. But when you get past that, you get to see how mature and beautiful the show is underneath. And I think it's really, really something. I think it has great characters. I love Kaito. I love Haruto. I love Astro. I love Shark. Despite the fact I'm very angry he turned into a Baryon. I love Vector. I love all the Baryons. I think they're really cool. I guess, like, my major complaints of Zexal and the reason it's not S or A tier is because I guess I don't have as much of a connection with it. I never really, like, adored it, like, you know, 5Ds and Duel Monsters really love it as much. I still think it's a really good show, but I guess I don't have much of a connection to it. And I guess the other thing is that Yuma, like, I think Yuma got a little too much screen time. I guess you could say that about any Yu-Gi-Oh! Protagonist. I guess you could say about screen time sharing. But, I mean, I think Kaito and Shark got their own moments, but there's that. Plus, I was not happy when Shark became a Baryon. I think it would have been cooler if, like, maybe one of the twins was a Baryon and the other wasn't, or the other decided not to. I think that might make it interesting, but then maybe that kind of ruins the dramatic tension at the end. I also think that Dawn 1000 is a bit cheap. Like, his cards are really stupid, ridiculous, but that's not enough to hinder the show. But yeah, Zexal, really, really, really good. I think it's a good show, but it's not on my love, love, love list like S. That's why you're not in the S or the A tier, but still really, really good. And I think you should definitely give it a shot if you haven't seen it. Alright. Do I even have to say where this one goes? Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 is S tier. Now, I know Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 has a lot of problems. I will be the first person to say it has a ton of problems. However, because that's why I put it in S tier, I can look past those problems. In Arc 5, the reason it's on the top of S tier for me is because I feel it's done a lot for me personally. It was the first Yu-Gi-Oh! Show I ever watched completely in Japanese, and I was watching it, I was in airing. I think I started around maybe the middle of the Synchro arc is where I actually started catching up with the Japanese. I remember waking up early to go to the streams, you know, the subs when we didn't have, you know, Crunchyroll or anything like that. It was a really, really fun time, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 is the reason I am here today. Not just the manga, but the anime as well. It's introduced me to so many wonderful people, and it's really gotten me involved in this fandom. And oh gosh, it's raining. If you hear anything in the background, I'm sorry about that, but I'm not going to re-record this video again. Hopefully it won't pick up too much. Anyway, I think Arc 5 has a great cast. I love Yuya as a main character. I love the potential. I love that it's an anniversary series and we see all these old characters. Do I think everything was handled well? No, not at all. I think the ending was bad. I think there's a lot that could be changed, but I think Arc 5 has my favorite cast of characters. I love the U-Boys. I love the Bracelet Girls. I love all the Lancers. I love, you know, all the random supporting characters, like the LDS trio. I think they're all fantastic. And I love the idea that all the summoning methods are coming into play. And I know Vrains does that now, but that was only till Season 2. But Season 1, we didn't know that there were going to be other methods. But Arc 5 embraced them and made that part of the plot about all these people mastering the summoning methods, seeing the alternate worlds of all of their shows that we loved. It was just a love letter to Yu-Gi-Oh! In its own way, despite the fact you could say many things changed its production and its quality went down and, you know, but it kept me on my seat every week. I was dying for the next episode. I don't think I felt like that, honestly, since Arc 5 ended on another Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, which you could say that might hinder my opinion of Vrains, but we're gonna get to that in a second. I just love Yuya. I know a lot of people don't like Yuya, and while I do love manga Yuya more, anime Yuya is still a great character. because he's very relatable to me. I'm an entertainer. I'm a very emotional person. And seeing Yuya, you know, brave through everything he had to go through and, you know, still make a smile in the world is just beautiful. And I love it. I'm gonna start, oh, let's not get emotional, come on. It has really good duels. The Shun and Sora duel, the Yuya and Dennis duel, the YuGiOh and Serena duel, which I found so fun. I haven't really talked about much about the duels in these lists, but because the dueling isn't really what I look for in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Duels are duels to me. But the duels, if they're bad or I don't really like how they play, can definitely hinder my opinion of the show or something. But Arc 5 is just great. As much as the fact I know it's very flawed and there are a lot of things I would change differently, it's got what got me into the community. You know, making fan content. You know, if it wasn't for the anime, we wouldn't have gotten the manga. And I wouldn't be where I am today without it. Also, many friends I said earlier I met through because of this. I've been involved in many Arc 5 projects. And I just love it. And I love that a lot of people got into Yu-Gi-Oh! Because of Arc 5. I've seen that so many times, and I love that that was the one to introduce people. And I think it's really good. And I would say it has a lot of my favorite characters in it. It has a lot of nice moments. It has a really nice art style. I'm not really talking about art style, but I really think the Arc 5 and 5D's art styles I really, really like, personally, but that's me. Has great character design, has great voice acting, has my favorite set of opening and endings. I didn't even talk about that in my rankings, because I'm more used to the English openings for most of these shows. But the Japanese openings, I've seen all of them, but I think Arc 5, because it has 12 great songs. It has a lot of cool symbolism, cool monsters, some great monsters were brought out during this era as well. And I really wish it got to be blossomed to its full potential, but I'm glad people are actually taking the time to rewrite it or, you know, make their own ideas. I've seen so many headcanons, so many fan theories, so many different interpretations of this show, which I think is awesome. I think it's really great. And I wish it could be the show that, you know, I'm happy with the show we got. You know, I still love it despite all its problems. But of course I would wish for it to be better. But yeah, Arc 5, definitely top tier for me. My favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Show of all time. Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. C tier. One of the shows had to be on the bottom of the tier list, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains for me just happens to be that one. And as I said in the beginning of this video, like, just because I don't like a show doesn't mean it's, you have to think it's bad. You don't have to agree with me. As long as you respect my opinion, we're good. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains for me has been, I don't know, it's been an interesting experience. Like, I love a lot of the characters really well. I think it's had some really good moments. For instance, I loved the Kusanagi's whole story. I think Kusanagi is a fantastic character, probably the best character to come out of this show. I really liked his, you know, him dueling Playmaker. That duel got me really emotional. I liked his backstory and how he works so hard for his brother, but can still be this wholesome guy who runs a hot dog truck. I mean, he's the weenie man in the hacker van. How could you not love that? I think Soulburner and Flame are really good. Like Soulburner or Takeru, it's just really cute and dorky, and I love like when he's Soulburn, he goes all over the top, and Kaiji Yuki does a great job voicing him, and Flame works off him so well. They're such a good duo. I think Akira is like MVP a lot of the time, because Akira does, when he's allowed to do things, he does some, like, you know, when he basically like, you know, basically helped destroy the Neuron Link, even though that didn't really matter, but that was a good moment for him. And seeing him as like this guy who's stuck in a bad corporation, it's pretty relatable, you know, having that job frustration. I think Emma's really good. I think her development from going from this semi-selfish person to being a lot more of a hero and helping out people, I think is really great. I love all the Ignises for the most part, not really Lightning and Windy, but I think the rest of them are pretty cool. I think Haru and Bowman were really cool conceptually, but I don't think they were executed too well. Cries. And I think that's honestly what comes down to it in Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, is I don't think it has really good ideas, but I don't think it's executed as well as I would personally like. For instance, the whole point of the show, if you could say, is about, besides, you know, like getting over trauma, is the fact that there's Link Vrains and there's the real world. But most of the time we see Link Vrains. We don't get to see much of the real life stuff aside from, you know, being in the hot dog truck or checking back at Soul Tech once in a while. I would love to see more locations in Den City. I would love the characters to travel. They don't need to be in Den City as far as I know to get into Link Vrains because, you know, it's like on Wi-Fi, so it'd be cool to see them travel a little bit. I mean, we saw Revolver on a boat. He had Wi-Fi in the middle of the ocean for some reason. I mean, I know you can get Wi-Fi on a boat, but it's not necessarily the best thing ever because we've been on cruise ships. But anyway, I just think I would love to see Yusaku in school more. Like, remember in episode 6 when there was the duel club and him interacting with Aoi? And like that really nice scene between them, like there's some good stuff there. I just wish it was done more. And I guess we're gonna get into the elephant in the room. As some of you may know, I am not the biggest fan of Playmaker or Yusaku Fujiki, despite the fact I really enjoy his design, not Playmaker, Yusaku's. It's just that I don't find Playmaker particularly fun to watch on screen. I guess like he's so serious and closed off from the world, which I get that's the point. It's not as endearing for me to watch on a daily basis, or weekly basis rather, and that's just me. It's weird going from Yuya to Yusaku, which I think is even more of a shift from going from Yusei to Yuma, which I know a lot of people didn't like Yuma because of that, and this could be the same reason why Yusaku and I haven't clicked. There are parts of Yusaku that I can say that have clicked. Like, I liked him, like, in this most socially awkward situation, because I think I'm pretty socially awkward, you know, especially in school, so I wish we got to see more of the human aspect of it, which, at the end of season 2 is anything to show, they might be going in that direction. Like, he's finally learned to maybe accept friends and, you know, be a bit more sociable. I would really love to see that. That'd be awesome. So I'm really excited for where the show is going to go, and maybe season 3 will bump it up to, you know, bump it up to B tier. Because, you know, opinions can change. I know a lot of people didn't like Zexal 1, but Zexal 2 just, like, really changed people's opinion on the show. Some people don't even consider them the same show, so there's that too. And I think Vrains has a lot of cool potential that I just wish maybe was done a little bit better. And, yeah. That's all I pretty much have to say about Vrains. I don't want to turn this into a Vrains rant video, because, honestly, I could rant about the problems in every single Yu-Gi-Oh show for a lot longer than this video is already getting. So I think I'm just gonna leave it at that. So Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains is in C tier. Maybe it will move to B tier by the end of the show, but we'll just have to see about that. And like I said, this has all been my opinion. If you don't agree, which I expect no one to agree with this, honestly, then that's up to you. If you can find enjoyment, you know, in a show that I didn't like as much, you know, more power to you. Like, if you love Yusaku, more power to you. I just personally don't feel that way. But you know, Vrains has been fun. It has some really good fandom content. Like, I've really liked a lot of the fan art and a lot of the fan theories and the stories. I just wish the show itself would keep me on edge and keep me as invested as Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 did. But that's me. Also, the recap episodes and some of the poor animation aren't really helping. But I hope Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains will surprise me in the end, and maybe it will move up this tier list. Maybe it can actually put in B tier. I don't think it will ever get an A or S tier for me. It might go to B tier, but we'll see about that. I might make another video, or I might just make a tweet about it. But yeah. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is my Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime tier list video. I'm sorry there's a lot of rambling in this video. This is just my feelings right up front. So as you can see, we have Arc 5 and 5Ds in S tier, Duel Monsters in A tier, B tier GX and Zexal, and Vrains is in C tier. So I'm pretty sure, like I said, no one's gonna agree with this, but I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. What do you guys think about all the Yu-Gi-Oh! Animes? Where would you rank them? And like I said, just because I think a show is good doesn't mean that you should feel bad if you love a show, or I should feel bad that you hate a show that I love. And that's the thing about opinions. We all connect to shows and different things in different ways. I know people who think Vrains is the best Yu-Gi-Oh! I know people who think Duel Monsters is. I know people who just connect with things differently. We all absorb media in different ways and have our own views. And that's what's fun about discussing these kind of things. And like I said, I am going to leave a lovely little link to this tier list in the description below, so you may make your own. And yeah, so that is my Yu-Gi-Oh! Tier list video. If you guys want me to do more kind of videos like this, maybe I'll make a Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga tier list, which I have to probably go reread some of the stuff because I haven't read some of it in a while. Or you want me to make like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime or like protagonist. If you want me to make more tier list videos, this is kind of fun. But don't expect this to turn into my channel. I'm just trying to find little videos to do while other projects are being worked on. And yeah, so yeah, that's gonna be it. And this is Rarity saying, stay happy and healthy, guys, and bye!